Brenda J. Lilly here from Creative Consultations. I just wanted to put out a small disclaimer before we launch into today's video that says I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm just here to engage, to encourage, and hopefully empower other artists to go out and live their art dream. So here we go. Enjoy the video. Well, good Monday morning, everybody. It is Monday morning, March 3rd. That's right. We've now entered the third month of this year, 2025. And it is time for a Monday morning kickstart with me, Brenda J. Lilly. I hope you like this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share it with everyone you know so that we can continue to become who we were created to be. Thanks so much, and I'll see you on the flip side. Hello, everybody. I have my big blue cup of coffee, and I am ready to rock and roll because it is time for a Monday morning kickstart. And if you know me, a little cup of coffee or a big cup of coffee always gets me going in the morning. So I am ready. I hope you are too. So, as you can see behind me, my cabinet is almost empty. And I have been in a flurry of activity as I walk closer and closer and closer to the time that I am making this transition from the Netherlands to America. So I have a lot to do today, and I want to get this video out. You know, as you make a transition from one place to another, from one city to another, from one state to another, from one country to another, there's always letting go that happens. And that's the hard part of the transition is leaving things behind, leaving people behind. The things I'm learning through this transition, the things aren't important. The people are so important. And so I want to talk about that a little bit. And I want to talk about hiding our light under a bushel, which is a biblical reference in the book of Matthew. Look it up if you're interested. In one of the sermons, Jesus said, "You are the light of the world, and no one puts their light under a bowl, but instead puts it on a lampstand for all to see." So I was sitting with some of my friends here and had dinner with some of my friends, an entire family. Well, not an entire family, mostly the entire family. Last night, and in that we had an amazing conversation. In fact, I don't think any of us, we were exhausted, but I don't think any of us wanted it to end. It was that lovely, you know. And so I stayed a lot later than I expected to, much to the chagrin of my dog. But it just was an amazing conversation. I got to share my stuff, and then they said, no, you can't go, we want to share too. And I was like, oh, great. And instead of sharing their thoughts on how life was going or anything like that, they shared their art with me. And I have to tell you, it was one of the most lovely experiences to see paintings and charcoal sketches and drawings, and listen to songs that have been written and, you know, started to be formulating into the producing side of things, or listening to one of them sing one of their songs. When I didn't even really know that she was a singer. And I didn't really know that another one of them was a songwriter. And then seeing some cards that were created through a program on the computer, and just how that this particular artist uses, and It was beautiful seeing that artwork, those works of art, and then having conversation around them and having conversation around the idea of what's the point. Well, I have not done anything with it because really, how far can it go? Or, and so, one of the things that I recognize that is a part of who I am as an artist is an encourager. I encourage people to just continue to become who they were created to be, to continue to hone their skills and their gifts and their talents and their abilities, and to use them. Don't worry about the outcome. Don't worry if you reach one person or 10 people or 100,000 people with your art. It does not matter. Those results I generally put in the hands of God himself. It's like whoever you want this to get to touch, to change, to influence, let them see this, let them hear this, let them partake of this. I do my job as an artist, and that is creating. I've got this lovely shadow cutting right across my body, so I had to shut my curtain. Forgive me. Um, but I don't like it when we sell ourselves short or hide our light, which is our creativity, which is our artistic nature, which is our art itself, under a bushel, under a bowl, fearing that we would never be taken seriously, fearing that nothing will come of it anyway, so I might as well not put myself out there because it'll be disappointing, or fearing that, well, somebody has already disappointed me. Someone has already said bad things or negative things, if you will. Didn't like what I did or couldn't appreciate what I did. Wasn't their cup of tea, and that hurt my heart. And so I just stopped. I get that. Art is being an artist is not easy. Putting yourself out there, putting your art out there is like hanging your heart up on a clothesline and saying, "Please don't hurt me." But we were given these gifts for a reason. We were we were all given our talents, our gifts, and our abilities so that we would use them to bring light into this world. And I don't know if you're paying attention to the news lately, but there's darkness is creeping in, not slowly. And so I think artists need to rise up more and more and more and use their gifts more and more and more and gather together more and more and more and encourage each other more and more and more. Listen to the songs, listen to the choruses, listen to the conversations, talk to one another, share your hearts with one another, encourage, engage, empower, inspire each other. And whatever we do, we hold each other accountable to using our art, our gifts, our talents, our abilities in this world, bringing our special kind of light, our special kind of creativity into this world so that it can be seen, tasted, experienced, enjoyed, questioned, poke, annoy, confuse, confound by as many people as will partake in your art and your art form. It can be scary, but it isn't really, because it's not your heart. Your heart is here. Your soul, your spirit, it gets poured into the art. But when it's done, when you finish that piece, your spirit resides with you. So it doesn't have to, like, people can like your art or not like your art. People can question your art, be confused by your art. People can love your art, buy your art, talk about your art, or not. The important thing is that we as artists continue to create. And we don't expect people to do it for us. We don't expect people to make a way for our art form. You know, it was one of the conversations I was having was don't sell yourself short. I see artists all the time selling themselves short, saying, "Oh, I mean, I was presented with these amazing pictures and paintings and drawings, and I was like, you need to sell these." And I go, "Oh, yeah, well, I don't know." And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. If you want to make it a side hustle, it can be a side hustle, but this could be your hustle." They're that good, thought provoking, beautiful, joy filled. And I was like, you need to do this. And then we were talking with another one of the family members, and I was like, you need to not sell yourself short. Well, and we had this round and round and round and round because of pain that was inflicted years ago, but inflicted because someone didn't prosper the work forward. And so in their mind, it meant that the work wasn't good enough. And I said, it was one person's opinion. Who cares? Are you going to let one person's negative opinion stop you from being who you were created to be? From stop you from creating the things. Now you've created one of these things, create something else, create a new thing, create a second thing, create a second workshop. Well, but nobody's going to do it. Well, don't have anybody else do it. Don't try to sell it to other people. Do it yourself. Take it out for a spin. See what will happen. And then maybe other people will catch on and want to produce this work with or for you. I was like, but produce it yourself first. See what can happen. See what you can do with it. See what you would tweak as the creator of this workshop experience. See what you would tweak and how you would shift it and change it. Just because this is the first form of it, the first edition of it, doesn't mean it has to be the end of it. It doesn't mean it's the be all and end all and it doesn't change from now into eternity. You can continue to hone it, to ship it, shape it, to change it, shift it. That's the word I was looking for. To shift it. And maybe this thing shifts per audience because you're speaking to a different demographic, or you're speaking to a different age group, or you're speaking to a different kind of artist or teacher or whatever. Don't sell yourself short. Your work is good. Your work is a gift. Your work needs continual attention so that it can continue to grow and become and change and shift and widen into whatever it is supposed to become. See, our work changes as well. As we change, our work changes. As we shift, our creativity, our art shifts. It shifts with us, not away from us. It shifts with us. And so it was one of the most pleasing conversations I've had in a long while. And I realized And I've been having these come to Jesus moments this whole, like, these last few months, as I'm planning this big move and this big change in my life and this transition in my life. Um, to America, and wanting to start the Bridge Artistic Network over in America. And because I think we need communities of artists that will encourage, engage, inspire, and empower each other to continue to grow in our work and to use our work and to bring our work into the public arena so that it has a chance to make impact in this world, that it brings light into this world. And that's our job as artists. That's our job, man. That's our gig. And it is a great, great gig. This conversation last night solidified for me the need for what I do. I knew there was a need. I've known for a long time there's a need. How to get it started, how who will want to be a part of it. It's been hard to try to, you know, get it going. But now I see all of the work that I've done trying to get it going. Those seeds that I planted took root in this family, and they are becoming their own community of artists in this family, and they are spurring one another on, and that is amazing to me. So how many more seeds can I plant? How many more gardens of artists can I cultivate? That is going to be the job and the journey for me, because I know I'm an encourager. I know that I love community. It was when I was a teenager, when I was a young kid. I had another conversation this week with two colleagues of mine, and artists, and now friends, and they were asking me questions. And one of the questions, they said, "Well, that must have been lonely." One of their responses was, "Oh, that must have been lonely for you as a kid." And I had never clocked that. I had never clocked it. And then the transition of me going from sort of loneliness, being an outsider in in a fairly large way. So what we were talking about is family structure, right? And I grew up in a family of readers. My family loves to read. And when I grew up, my father always had like 3 books going at a time, and my mom had 2 books going, and my brother was constantly reading, and I wasn't very good at reading. I wasn't fast like they were, and I got bored easily. Like, if the story didn't grab me, and I am the same way to this day, if the story doesn't grab me from the jump, I won't make it past page 5. I'll put the book down forever and a day. I'm one of those readers, I'm the reader that all the editors say, if your first sentence doesn't grab people, they're not going to read your book. That is a true story. There are those of us out there who will not put the time in. I have friends who will start a book, and so they will finish a book. And I'm like, if I start a book and get frustrated by said book on page 10 because it's too slow, or it's too descriptive, or it's getting lost in the weeds of what it's about, or I don't understand the voice, who's talking to me, this is whatever, I will literally put that book away, give it to somebody else to torture. I'm not interested. I always was that way. My family, they were avid readers. My aunt, avid readers. My Aunt Joanne, man, she was an avid reader. And I wasn't. I was more active. I was more hands on. I was story driven, but in a different way. And so I was an outsider in my own family unit. And so I was talking with the colleagues, and I hadn't really talked about that for a long time, and so one of my friends said, "Oh, that must have been lonely," and I said, "I guess it was." Well, I know it was, and then I found a theater community, because remember, I loved story, but in a different way than reading. I liked seeing it. I liked feeling it, partaking in it in some way, if I was an audience member, giving my energy to it. If I was on stage, being a part of it. So if I was a backstage, giving my energy and yeah, physical ness, if you will, to it. Anyway, and I found a community of people. And I realize now as an adult that was of vital importance. That was life changing, finding that community of people who understood me as a human being, who saw me, who heard me. And I now know that is kind of my gig, to create communities like that. All artists of all different ilk, all different kinds of us are out there just longing to be seen, to be heard, to be understood, to be taken seriously, to be encouraged, engaged with, and empowered to continue to make, to create, to be who we are. Sometimes it takes years and years and years to get to this place of self acceptance, to understanding what makes you tick as an artist, what makes you tick as a human being. And that's okay. Just keep journeying on and be who you were created to be. It's so important. Don't hide your light under a bushel. Don't wait for someone else to take your work and run with it. You run with it. You do you. You be the artist you were created to be. And I will be your biggest fan. All right. That's what I have for us today. I love you all. I hope you have a wonderful week. And I will see you again next week. Enjoy the beginning of the month of March. Doodles. Hey, thank you so much for watching our video. I hope you liked it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, subscribe. What are you waiting for? All right. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Bye.